and then we can help you fill it out. If you want to fill it out online, you can do that too. You can do it anytime. But people are telling us they feel more comfortable on paper. I want to get here to the messages that we tested. We tested 4 messages. This is, again, with the Latino audience. We tested, you need to participate in the census because it's required by law. You need to participate in the census because it's your civic duty. You need to participate in the census because it benefits your community. Or you need to participate in the census because this is your way to stand up to Trump. So it's a resistance message. We tested these 4 messages. The resistance message was the least effective. The most effective was, you need to participate in the census because of the benefit to your community. So as we gear up at Naleo with our campaign, and I hope Coloradans, as you gear this up, what we have to hit home is have people understand how important the census is for programs, for those health programs, those clinics, those schools, the highway construction, all of that. That's what people have told us is convincing to them to participate in the census. Messengers. It's also important who says it. I work for the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials. I'm going to tell my members who are appointed and elected officials, nobody believes you. That's what people told us, that elected officials are not very credible when it comes to this stuff. Who they would believe? Nurses, doctors, teachers, first responders, all of those were credible messengers. So when you think about who needs to go out there and be telling the public the census is important for our community, it needs to be those messengers. Okay, I'm just waiting for someone to say, oh, let's do a PSA with Lin-Manuel Miranda. No, that's not going to work. Okay, we need to prepare, folks. These are just some ideas that we have. Advocate for state and local funding for census outreach. Colorado, you've got to get on the ball, people. State of California, they know what's at stake here. California has 53 congressional seats they want to hold on to. They have a huge immigrant population. They know exactly the risk of not counting every Californian, which is why the state government has allocated $100 million for its own statewide census outreach program. Colorado, not a penny. You need to talk to your legislature. You need to talk to your governor and say, Colorado has something at stake here. Power and money. And every person means we get that much less of our share of political representation and resources to benefit our community. We have to invest in this effort. We can't just leave it up to the feds. That's one of the things I tell people. We're doing a campaign on this. But the thing I always want to remind people is that, the United States did not invent the census. Okay, censuses have been done throughout the history of the world. Caesar decreed that there shall be a census, but the reason Caesar was doing a census was so that he could tax people, so he could control the population. That's why governments have done censuses until our government decided to do a census. Because our census is not designed to control the people. Our census is designed to give the people power, to allocate resources. It's the people's census. That's our census. It's our Constitution. And it's at risk for political motivations, for lack of foresight, for lack of planning. Our census is being taken away from us. It's at the core of what this country is about. It's at the core of our democracy. And we have only about, 16 months left to do something about it. Because if we are Americans, if we believe in our Constitution, we have to take this into our own hands. And we have to stand up for the fundamental values of this country, that all persons are equal in our society, and we all count. Thank you.
Why are kids 0 to 4 undercounted?
It's a very good question, and we really don't know why. The Census Bureau has been doing research to try to understand complex households, complex families. We ourselves have incorporated that question into our research. One of the troubling things that we learned from our survey is that we asked the respondents, do you have children under 17 in your household? Do you have children younger than 5 in your household? And those who answered yes, we asked them, are you going to include them on your census form? And about 11% of them said no. We weren't able to tease that out. The Partnership for America's Children is about to do more research, and this is one of the things they're going to get at, is what are the attitudes or what are the beliefs that adults have that they're not wanting to include all their children on the census forms. So we're going to learn some more of that research. We also know that there's a lot of assumptions as to why children may have been missed. In 2010, it was a paper form only, and so there was only so much room on the form. And if you remember, we were in the middle of the Great Recession, and there was many families lost their homes, and people were doubling up. So it may have been something as simple as they ran out of room on the form, and so they started with the adults and they left off the children. I mean, it may have been that. We had a convening with child advocates, and people were in LA County. And some of those who work with foster children were saying, well, chances are foster children were missed because the foster parent probably thought, well, the child should be counted at the home of the biological parent. And the biological parent saying, well, my child is in a foster home, so they're going to be counted over there, and nobody counts the child. So it could be a whole number of reasons, but we really need to get at this more. Interesting fact, there are populations that are overcounted. And one of those populations is white women.
White women?
White women.
Wow.
Are overcounted in the census.
This question, I know there has been controversy about how the LGBTQ population is being counted. What are the latest views on this topic?
One of the questions is, how does this person relate to the person filling out the form? And that's called the relationship question. And you can answer same-sex married partner or unmarried partner, and by knowing the genders, we'll know if it's a same-sex household or an opposite-sex household. However, let's say you're a gay man living by himself. There's no way to identify yourself as gay or straight. There is the acronym SOGI, the Bureau is great on acronyms, sexual orientation and gender identity. There is no identifier for on the census form. Only for those same-sex couples will we get some sense of what that population size is.
So another question about one of our hard-to-count communities is how can the homeless population participate if they do not have an address?
Yeah, there will be, and I don't remember the exact date, but there will be a day in late March. There'll be a homeless count, and that's when enumerators will go out and try to find people in transitional living situations, or under freeway underpasses, in parks or wherever, homeless encampments where homeless may be, and to count them that night. There'll be a homeless count operation.
How will the enumerating approach work with people with disabilities or others that do not have access to a computer?